Hello, I am Nova SC, and I'm going to be casting just one of my random games that I've been playing, and actually it's not too random. I've picked it out because it's on the very strange map that struck fame after having such a fantastic game on, I think it was Red Bull Battlegrounds. It's Habitation Station, I think. Have to have to check somehow. There we go, Habitation Station there. And I'm even using the streamlined um, interface here, so it's going to be a new map that I've never really played on before, and new interface. It's going to be fantastic. So here I am. I'm Nova, and against Decent, who should be living up to his reputation in this game, and that's the reason I picked it out. He played fairly decently, and I play a fairly interesting strategy which I haven't played before, and it's fairly map specific. It is a 3-voice opener, which I used to do all the time, but I've been doing less now. Because maps haven't been able to sort of accommodate it, and because their third bases are often very difficult to defend. And ironically, even though this base is probably the hardest base on the map to defend because it's so close to your opponent's main, when you're taking it as third, it's very easy to take because of this natural. And when you're taking your third around the 7-minute mark, if you're going for a fast third, then there aren't going to be any air units to punish this, and your opponent can't drop. So my opponent's going for pull first, very nice. I'm blocking down here, so that's probably the best idea. And I'm going for Nexus first, so extremely economic openings, which is tends to be the case on this map. It's I either see very aggressive builds to exploit this fairly short rush distance. Some sort of airplay on a small base, a low base count, small base count. Anyway, yeah, those two, or just a really long macro game. I think like every game I've played on has been fairly long macro games, so that's my experience of it so far. Just scouting through here. Really important that I scout my opponent's third, that he definitely takes it, because I'm going for this fast third. The problem with this position, even though the ramps are easy to take, your opponent can position their army between your third and your natural, which is often really hard position to defend, defend from. Because if you have your army here, your opponent waltzes in, kills this. You do get an advantage in your opponent's armies up here and your armies down here, so you can force field the ramp. But you've already lost a base, and at that point, you're not going to have the income to really survive 3 bases worth of aggression after committing to economy that much. It's fairly hard anyway. I'm sure it's possible if you do it perfectly, but I rarely pull it off. So I scattered the third, I'm pretty sure, I believe, and let's see if I can work my way around this interface. That's the wrong thing, that's menu. Okay, player camera, right. Yes. So I did see the third. My opponent's just checking me out. These 2 Zerglings, which is unfortunate for him. Snatches up this watchtower. So he's using those 4lings as best as he can. You definitely shouldn't be making any more. Production tab should be up. Like I say, never used this interface before. Though the hotkeys are exactly the same, so I really don't have an excuse, do I? So when I take my third like this, I need to get some stalkers out for some map presence. Otherwise, things are just going to waltz in and kill probes, because others aren't really agile enough. So I can do this. You get these stalkers out. Those stalkers will be coming out way before any speed from my opponent, so I can use it to take the watchtower, so that I can see bushes coming. Extra useful there. It's coming up to 6 minutes, so I should be thinking about taking that base mighty soon. My minerals are getting fairly high, so I can start moving into that. There we go. Should start throwing that down about now. There we go. Third base settling in for my opponents. Workers are ahead. My opponents are ahead at this point in workers, which makes perfect sense because I've saved up my money for this here Nexus, and I've dumped some minerals and gas into some workers, whereas my opponent hasn't even got gas yet. This is very late gas, and he hasn't even taken the gas in his main yet. So very economic from him. shooting ahead in workers, but hopefully I should be able to catch up eventually. See the Zerglings coming in, being extra cautious here. I should probably have just been shooting away at these Zerglings with the Stalkers, but I waited to regroup with the rest of my units. And here I go, just shooing away these Zerglings so I can keep map presence. It's got Zerglings all over the place, I like this. Probably should have these scouting as well, but yeah, he's scouting his base, so that's useful for checking for proxy pylons if he had that patrolling. That's going to see pushers coming from the side, and a probe's going to plant proxy pylons as well. So far it's all looking pretty good. Got my 3 choice units there. Also got the sentry for a hallucination later in the game. That'll be in about a minute, I think. Yep. The hallucination is really important to see if my opponent's going for fast Musilisks. If he goes for fast Musilisks, I'm gonna get tons of Phoenix out really fast. Otherwise, I'm gonna get the Stargates anyway because these positions are just too scary for Musilisks. So I'm gonna have to get those Stargates as a precaution at the very least. But if I see that he's already got the Spire going when I check in there about 9 to 10 minutes, then gonna be pumping up Phoenix really early. Opponent's only on 3 base. Probably should be moving into a 4th round now. And workers are still far ahead, but that's the way it should be. And he's getting some broaches out. So yeah, I would thought he was going for some pressure here, and I would have also thought he's seen my base. Yeah, he knows I've moved into this base, so he wants to pressure it, which is a common response. I doubt he's used to seeing Process players take the gold so early. Here's my hallucination scout, 9 to 10 minutes. I see the lair coming in, so it's not ridiculously early, so I don't have to worry about getting those Phoenix out ASAPly. But I'm still going to get Stargates in, just in case. And the Stargates can be useful if my opponent just goes Mass Roach. And I believe I didn't even see any other tech. There isn't any other tech to see, so of course I didn't see it, yeah. So, yep, Stargates coming in. 2 might be a little bit overkill considering I didn't see Musilisks, but better safe than sorry, I guess. By the way, Musilisks are so powerful here because it's short air distances between all 3 bases, and when you're in this sort of ball formation, Musilisks are especially powerful. If I was expanding this way, they'd be a bit less powerful because to get to this base, from this base, you need to go through this base, which just makes Musilisks a bit harder to use and makes them a bit less cost efficient because they're going to have to brush past all these static defences to get to bases. Whereas lots of dead air, which I can't put cannons. So my opponent's getting ready to do a push. Hydralisk then is in now, so that's pretty solid choice. Now, he doesn't see the Stargates, but he's getting it just blindly because that's just the way the metagame works at the moment. In this situation I keep thinking that's a carrier. I think in the game I thought that was a carrier as well, on several occasions. Yeah, in this case really Mass Roach would be fine, but of course it's going to be more consistent to get those Hydralisks in case I'm going for Immortals or Mass Stalker, or I'm going for obviously Void Rays, which I am actually doing. That's because I saw Roaches at my opponent, and I'm going to cut those now I see the Hydralisks, which I'm going to see those Hydralisks pretty damn soon. And he's going to deny the 7, there's nothing I can do about that, my army isn't nearly strong enough. Yeah, it's about half my opponent at the moment. So I just sit back, and the only reason I expanded there is because I had more than enough minerals to do it. It forced him to make units to deny it, so it was a win-win situation really. Cancelling only lost me about 75 minerals I think. And I'm just mass producing these units now, pumping out Immortals. I've cut the Void Rays because of the me seeing the Hydralisks, and not such a good engagement by me. I should be pressing E on these. I should be blinking more. Oh dear. But it's done. Even though it was a terrible engagement by me, it has repelled the push temporarily while he regroups with his units. And I get some warping rounds. I'm still pumping out those immortals, which is really important against this army composition. And if I engage again, hopefully I'm going to be doing some blink micro properly. Okay, oh. And I'm microing immortals, force fields, trapping lots of units at the back, so that's going alright. And some actual blink. That was a bit of overkill. Mortals pop in. And yeah, it's pretty cost effective engagement. Let's look at the units lost. Yeah, I'm trading very cost efficiently here. Gonna lose them all, unfortunately. Oh no, I'm not. No, I'm gonna lose them all? Yeah. But in the grand scheme of things, that went pretty well for me. I'm up in the units lost, and I've got this gold base fully running and mining. And my opponent's only one base ahead of me, so that's fine. As long as I stay over in a base with my opponent, I'm in a good situation. My upgrades have been fairly constant after I've secured my third. So I'm at 2-1 compared to my opponent's 1-1. So we're fine. We're looking in a good situation here. I think I should have Storm done. If it's not, yeah, I've got Storm done, I think. Yep, Storm's done, and I've got some High Templar. And this is pretty much the ideal composition against Roach Hydra at the moment. Immortal, Storm, and Blink Stalkers are going to be the ideal composition you want. Roadways aren't going to be contributing very much because the Hydras are going to kill those pretty damn fast, but I guess the range is fairly helpful. It's got 6 range, I believe. Though I'm not allowed to look in this interface, it seems. Popping in more zealots because I might as well. I just want as much stuff as possible at this point to keep hold of my 4th, so that I can keep ahead of my opponent. Got myself a Warp Prism, that's because I cut my Immortals, seeing how many more Hydralisks my opponent was making. I cut the Immortals, I think, in favour of more High Templar. So I really should be, now looking back, I think I really should be making Immortals here. Yeah, I've started them again, but that cut was a bit unnecessary. Continuing those upgrades, he's got all these Hydralisk upgrades coming in now. I'd expect an Infestation Pit fairly soon. Lair Tech's pretty damn important at this point. He's exploiting this open ground area fairly well, just sitting in there waiting for me to engage. I see that's a bad idea, so I back out. I like my tight entrances, good for Storm. So this is a bit of a standoff here. Neither of us really wants to engage our opponent. Ideally, if I can get my opponent to walk into some storms, that's pretty good. Actually killed a Hydralisk, which is pretty damn nice. And while this is going on, we'll be bringing in some Zealots to harass. I just A-clicked on the hatchery, which is a bad idea because it's being blocked off by these 2 buildings, so that's some good positioning from my opponent. And when my opponent goes to retreat, I'm going to be knocking out some of the creep streamers. Back home, I'm adding on tons of gateways. I think I was under gateway because both players are flowing a lot of minerals at this point and a lot of gas, so neither of us have enough production structures at the moment, but that's not going to be the case for long for me. I've added on tons down here as well. I think there's a structures tab. Structures, is it U? No? Production, K, J, A, not sure what structures is. I'm going to go for T. Yes, nailed it! What gates? 14. I have 19 gateways now, so doing good. That's more than enough production at the moment. Adding on another base, I have enough minerals to support, so I might as well. Tons of Storm, I've got a really nice army still. And just making tons of Zealots. Adding on more Warp Prisms, I believe. Yep, more Warp Prisms, going to be harassing multiple angles. I can afford all these expansions, all these gateways, Warp Prisms, Zealots to harass, and because I've taken this gold so early, I have tons of minerals left over. It's probably the reason my opponent has too many minerals, because you don't often get opportunities to practice on maps with gold bases. I have this handy observer sitting here, seeing when my opponent's out, so that I can send Zealots in and wreck up the place. Units lost, I'm getting further and further ahead because of all these counterattacks, and the Storm's being very cost effective. I'd like to see Let's see, workers killed. Okay, so I've killed 14 workers compared to his 2. He really should be doing more harassment, to be fair. Just Zerglings, just because he could easily do a run by here and wreck up my main base. That's why he's got this Spire to start going on the aggressive. Because he knows Roach Hydra isn't really working at this point. I look away for a few seconds here, have to start storming my own units. And I looked away because I've started warping in even more units up here. He unfortunately doesn't have detections, as DT's gonna wreak havoc. And the Mooses come in, and I don't have nearly enough to deal with that, so I have to recall out. More zealots, yet more zealots. Like I said, attacks via the air like Mooslisks are really strong against these 3 bases because they're so close together by air, so I can just warp in some units here, take it into transform mode, move the warp prism over here, and then warp in some more units up here, just attack these 2 bases simultaneously, and it's really hard to defend by ground, because look at this really long area. Really long distance for the ground units to walk. And he doesn't have detection. He's just waltzing on in, I can't do anything about that, even though I'm really close. I could blink up, and then he could just move into my base, so I'm going to have to go on for a counter-attack. Obviously, during this, more warp prisms waltzing on in, doing more damage. I got to make sure he doesn't take these 2 bases, because as long as I keep him on his 4 bases, I'm ahead. Got tons of gas sitting here. Both players floating a lot of minerals still, obviously, because of that extra income. Some zealots, just a couple DTs. We'll have adding just a couple DTs in it, because often the zealots are able to destroy all the spore crawlers and allow the DTs to do their work. And often people don't add in overseers to the army, which is obviously a big shame, because they're just sitting there doing more damage. Midway through the counter-attack, doing more damage. Really want to move into here, snipe some more bases. DC's really unfortunately killing this base, and really needs to be making more overseers. And at this point, I'm fairly sure I've won. My opponent's sitting on 1 base, and that's not properly mining, and I'm moving into my 6th base. I'm so good at counting. To be fair, a couple of mine are mined out, a couple of mine aren't mining, but it's a pretty damn good situation at the moment. And there's going to be just a couple more fights, I would have thought, and that'll be it. This is a really bad engagement, which I don't want to take, so I'm going to have to recall out of here. For some reason I'm taking the fight, which is bad. It's just very bad. I lose a lot of units, and I recall out. Oh dear. I must have been doing something else. I'm so busy, like, warp prism harassing all this time. Warped in all these High Templar ages ago, so I should have a ton of storm. Yeah, ton of storm. And we're just going to have to wait for this, the last cataclysmic battle of serious death and other serious words. And I just have so much storm. My army's too big, so I can just afford to storm my own army at this point, just to kill everything off. And that's going to be it. Not much my opponent can do at this point. He doesn't have enough bases. The double expand isn't really going to work because I have warp prisms just sitting here. And yeah, I hope you liked this strategy that I implemented on this map, and I hope someone tries it out because it's really fun. Really fun having all this stupid amount of income. I should go back actually to show you how much income I had at that point, because it does make a huge difference. You can afford many more gateways, even though I didn't add on the gateways fast enough. Faster, faster, faster. I really need it more like 7 minutes 30. Go, 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 go. Here we go. So that should be settling in pretty soon. I miscalculated how long it takes for me to settle into a base. There we go. There we go, so I have my income up here. So yeah, even though opponent's on... Ooh, slow down. So even though opponent's on 3 bases, and I'm on 3 bases as well, and my opponent has slightly more workers than me, my income is about 200 a minute more than my opponent, so it isn't actually an insane difference, but it's a slight difference, and slight differences make all the difference. Another thing to note is I've only got 12 on mining here, opposed to my opponent's 15s and 16s. So yes, I'll stop now. I'll stop talking, even though I love talking. Yes, I hope you enjoyed that game, and the idea of expanding here very fast, though it's fairly obvious that that's a good thing to do. Hopefully it wasn't obvious that it was so easy to do, and someone took something away from that. Yes, goodbye. See you again some other time.